Your birthday is a divine code. What has God hidden in it? What if your birth date was never random? What if hidden within the numbers of your birth was a divine code, a secret that reveals your true purpose? Before you took your first breath, before time itself began, God had already written your days in His book. Your birth was not an accident. The exact moment you entered this world was divinely appointed, carefully placed within His grand design. Psalm 139 verse 16. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. But here's the truth that Satan desperately wants to keep hidden. Your birth date is not just a date. It carries a spiritual assignment, a calling, a destiny that, if unlocked, could change everything. The enemy does not want you to discover this. He wants you to believe your life is ordinary, that you were never meant for greatness. But today, that lie is exposed, because today we will unlock the divine code hidden within your birth date. Every number, every date, every detail holds a deeper meaning, a message from heaven, a blueprint designed by God Himself. And as you listen, you may discover that your birth date is not only significant, but it may be one of the most powerful dates in biblical history. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to learn could reveal the reason why you were placed on this earth at this exact time. Are you ready to unlock your divine assignment? Born to lead, the pioneers of faith. From the moment you took your first breath, a path was set before you, not a path to follow, but one to create. Those born between the first and fifth were never meant to blend into the crowd. You were designed to be a pioneer, a leader, a catalyst for change. Like a flame that ignites the darkness, your presence was meant to mark the beginning of something new. In the very first words of the Bible, God speaks of creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1. Just as He spoke existence into reality, so too has He placed within you the ability to bring forth new beginnings. Leadership is not always about standing in front. It is about stepping forward when no one else will. It is about seeing what others cannot and moving in faith even when doubt surrounds you. But make no mistake, pioneers are always tested. The enemy does not waste time attacking those who are passive. He targets those who dare to break the mold, those who walk into uncharted territories with purpose and conviction. You may have felt the weight of this calling without fully understanding it. Perhaps from a young age, people naturally look to you for guidance. Maybe you've carried a vision in your heart that no one else seems to understand. Or maybe you've battled fear, wondering if you are truly capable of leading, questioning whether you have what it takes. Even Moses, called to lead an entire nation, doubted himself. Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Exodus 3:11. But God's response was clear. I will be with you. Exodus 3:12. Leadership is not about your ability, it is about God's anointing upon you. Biblical numbers hold deep significance, and the numbers in your birth date reflect your spiritual assignment. The number 1 represents new beginnings and leadership. Those born under this number are meant to initiate, to establish, to take ground where none has been taken before. The number 2 symbolizes partnership, reminding pioneers that they are not meant to walk alone. Divine connections will come in due time. The number 3 carries spiritual authority, the power to shape realities with words and actions, aligning with the divine order of the Trinity. The number 4 speaks of foundation, the call to build something that will last beyond your lifetime. And the number 5 represents grace, a reminder that leadership is not about striving, but about walking in God's divine favor. Yet with favor comes responsibility. Those who are called to lead must first learn to trust. The road ahead will not always be easy, but you were not given a spirit of fear. You were given power, love, and a sound mind, 2 Timothy 1:7. You must walk boldly, refusing to let doubt steal what God has already declared over your life. When obstacles arise, do not retreat. This is simply the process of refining a leader. The enemy will try to convince you that you are not enough, that you are not ready. But what if the very thing you are afraid of is the thing you were created for? To step fully into your calling, you must first embrace it. Stop questioning whether you were meant to lead. You were. Stop hesitating when you feel the pull to step forward. God has already prepared the way. Leadership is not about perfection, it is about obedience. Those who wait for every detail to align before they move will never move at all. Pioneers are called to step forward in faith, trusting that the path will become clear as they walk. Now is the time to rise. Now is the time to step into what you were created for. Speak this truth over your life. I was born to lead. I was created to bring change. I will not let fear hold me back because God is with me. The world does not need more people who play it safe. It needs those who are willing to stand, to speak, to move with conviction. Will you be one of them? Will you step into the destiny that has been calling to you since the day you were born? The choice is yours. Warriors of the Spirit. Not everyone is born into battle, but you were. From the moment you entered this world, the enemy took notice. He saw the strength within you, the resilience that could not be broken, and he feared what you might become. Those born between the 6th and 10th are not strangers to struggle. Your life has not been one of ease, but this was never a sign of abandonment. It was a sign of preparation. You were made to fight, to endure, to stand firm when others fall. You were not given an easy path because God placed within you the spirit of a warrior. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Ephesians 6:12. This battle is not just physical, it is spiritual. The challenges you have faced, the trials that have threatened to break you, were not coincidences. They were strategic attacks meant to weaken you before you could rise. But what the enemy never understood is that every battle you have fought has only made you stronger. Every hardship has trained you, every setback has refined you, and every wound has become a mark of victory, not defeat. You may have wondered why your path has been so difficult, why obstacles seem to appear just when you are about to move forward. The answer is simple. The enemy does not fight what is not a threat. He comes after those who have the potential to destroy his plans. If you have been through seasons of suffering, it is because you carry a strength that he cannot afford to let awaken. But you were never meant to stay in the fight alone. God has always been with you. He has been training you in the wilderness, just as he trained David before he faced Goliath. The numbers in your birth date reveal the depth of your calling. The number 6 represents struggle, but also the power to overcome. You were not born into an easy life because you were born with the ability to endure. The number 7 symbolizes divine completion. Your battles are not endless. They are leading you to a victorious fulfillment. The number 8 signifies new beginnings, a reminder that suffering is not permanent and breakthrough is always near. The number 9 is the number of divine wisdom, showing that your trials are shaping you into someone with the authority to guide others. And the number 10 represents testing, the fire that refines, the challenge that strengthens, the process that makes a warrior unshakable. Daniel was tested for 10 days, refusing to compromise, standing firm in faith when others gave in. Test your servants for 10 days. Give us nothing but vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare our appearance with that of the young men who eat the royal food, and treat your servants in accordance with what you see. Daniel 1:12-13. At the end of his trial, he emerged stronger, healthier, and unshaken. This is your story. You have been tested, refined, and challenged, but each test has only brought you closer to the warrior God created you to be. Now is the time to recognize who you truly are. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a conqueror of challenges. You are not defined by what you have been through. You are defined by how you have risen despite it. The enemy wants you to believe that you are weak, but God says otherwise. He has placed within you a strength that cannot be broken, a fire that cannot be extinguished, a spirit that cannot be defeated. To walk in your full power, you must stop seeing your struggles as punishment and start seeing them as training. Every warrior must be tested before they can be victorious. Every champion must endure hardship before they can stand in triumph. The battles you have fought were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to prepare you. This is why you must rise. You must step into your destiny with the confidence that you were created for more. Speak it aloud. I am a warrior. I was not born to break. I was born to stand, to fight, to overcome. No weapon formed against me will prosper. The question is not whether you are strong enough. The question is whether you will believe that you are. The fire has already refined you. The trials have already trained you. Now it is time to step forward, to claim the victory that was always meant to be yours. Will you take your place on the battlefield of faith? Will you rise into the calling that has been waiting for you? The choice is yours. Agents of transformation. Some are born to lead, others to fight, but those born between the 11th and 15th carry a different calling, a calling to transform, to shift atmospheres, to bring light where there was only darkness. Your life is not meant to be ordinary because you were created to be a catalyst for change. Wherever you go, things cannot remain the same. You disrupt stagnation. You awaken what is sleeping. You breathe life into places that were once lifeless. You are an agent of transformation. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. You were never meant to fit in. The reason you have often felt out of place, misunderstood, or even resisted is because you were not created to blend into the world. You were created to change it. Many who are born under these dates struggle with rejection, loneliness, or seasons where they feel unseen. This is not a sign of failure. It is evidence of your assignment. Transformers are never embraced immediately because they challenge what is comfortable. The world resists change, but that does not mean change is not needed. Your journey has been filled with moments of deep transformation, times when you had to let go of what you once knew to step into something greater. You have walked through seasons where everything around you seemed to fall apart, yet somehow you emerged stronger. You were being prepared. Look at Joseph, betrayed, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. Everything in his life seemed to be falling apart, yet God was setting him up for his greatest calling. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Genesis 50:20. Like Joseph, your hardships were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to shape you into someone who could bring transformation to others. The very trials that you thought would break, you were actually the training ground for your destiny. God did not allow you to go through these struggles for nothing. He allowed them because He knew you would rise, and when you did, you would lift others with you. The numbers in your birth date confirm this calling. The number 11 represents divine transition. You were born to usher in something new. The number 12 is a number of government and divine authority, meaning you are called to establish change in ways that impact many. The number 13, often misunderstood as negative, actually symbolizes rebellion against darkness. Those who carry this number disrupt the plans of the enemy. The number 14 signifies spiritual deliverance, showing that your calling involves breaking chains, setting people free, and leading them into something greater. And the number 15 represents restoration. What was lost will be restored, and you will be part of that process. But transformation comes at a cost. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will support you. Some will resist what you carry because change makes people uncomfortable. Even Jesus, the greatest agent of transformation, was rejected by his own people. But rejection does not mean failure. It means you are exactly where you need to be. The enemy wants to convince you that your efforts are in vain, that your presence does not matter, that your voice is not heard. But the truth is, your presence shifts things in the spiritual realm before they even manifest in the physical. You must recognize the power that is within you. You do not need permission to bring change. God has already sent you. You must walk boldly in your calling, knowing that your presence is a divine assignment. Some doors will close because they were never meant for you, but the doors that matter will open at the right time. The world is waiting for the change you were born to bring. Will you step into your calling? Will you embrace the process of transformation even when it is difficult? Will you walk in the fullness of what you were created to be? Say it aloud. I am called to transform. I will not shrink back. I will not be silent. I will bring change because God has placed his power inside me. You were born for something greater than you can imagine. Will you answer the call? The choice is yours. Guardians of truth. Some are called to lead, some to fight, and others to bring transformation. But those born between the 16th and 20th carry a sacred responsibility to guard the truth, to stand firm in faith, and to be unshaken in a world that is constantly shifting. You were born to be a pillar, a protector, a keeper of divine wisdom. When deception rises, you are called to speak truth. When the world crumbles under doubt and confusion, you are called to remain steadfast. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. Truth has always been under attack. The enemy does not need to destroy people if he can deceive them. That is why your calling is so crucial. You have been placed on this earth to preserve what is pure, to hold on to what is eternal, to defend what is right. But because of this, you have also faced resistance. Those born under these dates often find themselves in situations where truth is being twisted, where deception is taking root, where the voices of darkness try to drown out the light. This is not by chance. It is part of your spiritual assignment. You may have felt the weight of this calling without realizing what it was. Perhaps you have been in situations where you could not stay silent, where something inside you burned at the sight of injustice or falsehood. Maybe you have experienced opposition, people turning against you simply because you chose to stand firm. This is the life of a guardian of truth. When others compromise, you remain. When others waver, you stand firm. It is not always easy, but it is always necessary. The numbers in your birth date reveal the power of your assignment. The number 16 represents divine love and mercy. You are called to carry truth, but always with grace. The number 17 signifies spiritual victory, showing that no matter how great the deception around you, truth will always prevail. The number 18 is linked to bondage and oppression. Those born under this number are often positioned to break chains, to expose lies, to free those trapped in deception. The number 19 carries the meaning of divine judgment, reminding you that truth is not just about knowledge, it is about preparing people for eternity. And the number 20 signifies waiting and preparation, showing that your calling requires patience, endurance, and unwavering faith. Paul was one of the greatest defenders of truth in biblical history. Once a persecutor of Christians, he encountered God and became a relentless force for the gospel. He faced prison, beatings, rejection, and trials beyond measure, but he never wavered. Be on your guard. Stand firm in the faith. Be courageous. Be strong. 1 Corinthians 16:13. Like Paul, you are called to stand, even when standing is difficult. But here's what you must understand. Guardians of truth are not always welcomed. The world does not celebrate those who expose deception. It fights against them. The enemy will try to make you feel isolated, like your voice does not matter, like standing for truth is pointless. He will try to wear you down, make you second-guess yourself, make you wonder if staying silent is easier. But you were not created to stay silent. You were created to be a light in the darkness, to be a watchman on the wall, to hold the line when others fall away. To walk in your calling, you must remain rooted in truth. Do not let the shifting tides of this world move you. Hold on to God's word, seek wisdom, and surround yourself with those who strengthen your faith. Your conviction is your greatest weapon. The enemy cannot defeat those who are unwavering. The world may resist you, but truth will always prevail. The question is, will you carry the responsibility of your calling? Will you remain firm even when standing is costly? Will you embrace your role as a guardian of truth? Say it aloud. I will not be shaken. I will stand for truth. I will not be silent when God has called me to speak. I will guard what is sacred. The world is filled with deception, but truth still stands, and you have been called to defend it. Will you answer that call? The choice is yours. Anointed leaders. Some are called to lead, some to fight, some to transform, and some to guard the truth. But those born between the 21st and 25th carry an even greater responsibility to govern, to guide, and to walk in divine authority. You were not just meant to lead, you were anointed to lead. You have been given a mantle of influence, a divine assignment that requires wisdom, strength, and obedience. You were chosen to lead others toward God's plan, to build, to establish, to reign. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Jeremiah 1:5. Leadership is not about position, it is about purpose. Many who are born under these dates feel the weight of responsibility early in life. People naturally look to you for guidance, even when you don't ask for it. You may find yourself in situations where you are expected to take charge, make decisions, and carry burdens that others cannot. But here's the challenge. The higher the calling, the greater the opposition. The enemy does not fear those who remain passive. He fears those who step into their authority. This is why many anointed leaders struggle with insecurity, doubt, or even seasons of intense isolation. The weight of leadership can feel overwhelming, but it is also a sign of the anointing on your life. Your birth date reveals the depth of your calling. The number 21 represents divine completion and spiritual maturity. You were chosen to lead with wisdom. The number 22 is linked to divine government, showing that you are meant to establish order where there is chaos. The number 23 represents divine protection. Those who carry this number are covered by God's hand, even in the midst of opposition. The number 24 is a symbol of priestly authority, showing that your leadership is not just earthly, it is spiritual. And the number 25 represents the grace of leadership, a reminder that true authority comes from God, not from men. David was anointed to be king, but his journey was filled with trials. Before he could sit on the throne, he had to endure rejection, exile, and betrayal. So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers, and from that day on the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David. 1 Samuel 16:13. Leadership is not just about ruling, it is about refining. Those who are truly called to lead must first walk through the fire of preparation. The enemy's greatest weapon against anointed leaders is distraction. He will try to fill your life with unnecessary battles, emotional exhaustion, and self-doubt. He will try to convince you that you are not ready, that you are not worthy, that the weight of responsibility is too much to bear. But what he fears most is that you will realize who you truly are. Because once you do, you will step into your destiny with unstoppable authority. You must understand this. Your leadership is not for your benefit. It is for God's kingdom. Your influence is not about status. It is about service. True leaders do not seek power. They seek purpose. You have been given wisdom, discernment, and a voice that carries authority. Use it wisely. Seek God's guidance, walk in humility, and trust that He has already equipped you for what lies ahead. Will you embrace your divine leadership, or will you let fear steal what God has given you? Say it aloud. I am anointed to lead. I will walk in wisdom. I will not be distracted by fear or doubt. I will fulfill my divine assignment. The world needs righteous leaders, leaders who will not compromise, leaders who will stand firm, leaders who will guide others toward truth. You were chosen for this. Will you rise into your calling? The choice is yours. End-time messengers. Some are called to lead, some to fight, some to transform, some to guard truth, and some to govern. But those born between the 26th and 30th have been chosen for a mission unlike any other, to be messengers in the final hour, to sound the alarm, to awaken those who are asleep. You were not born for the ordinary. You were born with an urgent calling. You carry a message that must be spoken, a truth that must be revealed, and a warning that cannot be ignored. And afterward, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. Joel 2:28. The world is heading toward its final chapter, and God has placed certain individuals on this earth to call His people back before it is too late. If you were born between these dates, you carry a divine urgency, a sense that time is short, that something greater is unfolding, that people must wake up before it is too late. You may not have always understood it, but you have felt it deep within. Perhaps you have been drawn to prophetic signs, to biblical mysteries, to moments in history that reveal God's unfolding plan. You are not imagining it. Your spirit has been tuned to something others cannot see. Like John the Baptist, you have been called to prepare the way. A voice of one calling in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Lord, make straight paths for Him. Matthew 3:3. But just like John, you may have felt like an outcast, misunderstood, even rejected. Messengers are rarely welcomed because their words disrupt the comfort of those who do not want to change. You may have struggled with loneliness, feeling disconnected from those around you. This is because you were set apart. You were not called to follow the crowd. You were called to call the crowd to repentance. The numbers in your birth date confirm your assignment. The number 26 represents the power of divine revelation. You are meant to see what others do not. The number 27 is linked to spiritual insight, meaning that God has given you a deeper understanding of hidden truths. The number 28 signifies the completion of cycles. Those born under this number are often positioned at the turning points of history. The number 29 represents warning and preparation, showing that your calling involves alerting others to what is coming. And the number 30 is a number of divine maturity. Jesus began His public ministry at 30, showing that those with this number are called to step into their full mission at the appointed time. But here's what you must know. A messenger's greatest battle is silence. The enemy will do everything to keep you from speaking. He will make you doubt whether your words matter, whether your voice is heard, whether your calling is real. He will try to distract you, discourage you, and isolate you. Because if you stay silent, the warning goes unheard. If you stay silent, people remain blind. If you stay silent, lives do not change. But God has placed something inside you that cannot be contained. A fire that cannot be extinguished, a message that must be delivered. You cannot remain silent when you were born to speak. You must embrace your mission, even if it is uncomfortable, even if it means standing alone, even if the world does not understand. Your words carry weight, your voice carries power, your calling carries urgency. Now is the time to step forward. Say it aloud. I am a messenger of God. I will not be silent. I will not be afraid. I will speak the truth because I was born for this moment. The world needs voices that will not be silenced. You were born for such a time as this. Will you answer the call? The choice is yours. Seekers of eternity. Some are called to lead, some to fight, some to transform, but you were born to seek. Those born on the 31st carry a unique calling, one that is not tied to earthly roles or temporary ambitions. You were created to search for deeper truths, to see beyond the physical, to uncover the mysteries of God. While others chase after what is fleeting, your spirit longs for something eternal. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. Colossians 3:2. You may have felt different from those around you, always asking deeper questions, always sensing that there was more to life than what could be seen. This is no accident. God has placed in you a hunger for the divine, a desire to understand things beyond this world. But with this calling comes a challenge. Seekers often feel alone. The enemy will try to distract you, to fill your life with meaningless things, to keep you from searching for what truly matters. But your spirit will never be satisfied with the temporary. The number 31 represents divine wisdom and revelation. It is the number of those called to look beyond the surface, to discern truth, to seek what others overlook. You are not lost. You are being drawn towards something greater. To walk in your calling, you must embrace your identity. Stop trying to fit in where you were never meant to belong. Say it aloud. I am a seeker of eternity. I will not be distracted by the temporary. I will pursue the mysteries of God. You were born to search, to find, to understand. Will you embrace the journey? The choice is yours. The most powerful birth dates in biblical history. Throughout history, there have been certain birth dates that carry an extraordinary level of spiritual power. Dates that have marked the rise of great leaders, the fulfillment of divine prophecy, and the unfolding of God's plan on earth. These dates are not merely numbers on a calendar, they are markers of destiny, aligning with biblical patterns and spiritual significance. Could your birthday be one of them? January 1st, a number of divine beginnings, symbolizing pioneers chosen to set a new course. Those born on this date are called to bring forth new things, break barriers, and step into new seasons with boldness. March 3rd, a powerful alignment with the Trinity, signifying divine completeness. This date carries the weight of spiritual authority, wisdom, and the ability to bring harmony between heaven and earth. July 7th, the number of spiritual perfection and completion, a sign of those chosen to fulfill God's greatest plans. Those born on this date are often called to walk in deep spiritual insight and divine favor. October 10th, a number of testing and breakthrough, marking warriors who overcome great trials. This date aligns with the biblical theme of endurance, divine testing, and ultimate victory. December 25th, the day many believe marks the birth of Christ, representing the arrival of divine salvation. Those born on this date carry a unique light, a calling to bring hope, love, and redemption to those in darkness. But here's the truth. Every birth date carries power. The question is not whether your birth date is listed here. The real question is, will you step into the divine purpose that was placed upon you from the moment you were born? Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Your birth was not a mistake. You were placed in this world at an exact moment in time for a reason. No matter when you were born, God has written your days in His book. Your life has a purpose, and it is time to embrace it. Now you know the truth. Your birth was never random. The day, the month, the moment you entered this world was divinely appointed, written into God's plan before time began. Your birth date is more than a number. It is a declaration of purpose, a key to your destiny, a sign of the mission you were sent to fulfill. But knowing this truth is not enough. Now comes the real question. What will you do with it? Will you embrace your calling, step into your divine identity, and walk in the power that God has given you? Or will you let doubt, fear, and distraction keep you from fulfilling your purpose? Satan has spent your entire life trying to make you forget who you are. He wants you to feel small, powerless, and lost. He wants you to believe that your life is ordinary, that you were never meant for greatness. But today that lie has been exposed. Psalm 139:16. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. You were created with intention. You were sent here for a reason. Your birth carries power. The time for hesitation is over. It is time to rise. It is time to step into what God has called you to do. It is time to walk boldly, knowing that you are chosen, equipped, and anointed for this exact moment in history. Comment below with your birth date and share what resonated most with you. Subscribe to Sacred Light Powerful Words and turn on notifications. Your journey into purpose is just beginning. You were born with a divine code. Will you unlock it? The choice is yours.